Hello
As well on the
again.
ACT.
It's Lit Book Reviews is back at it. You know what? Actually, hold on. Bro, my thing says 0% uploading right. Oh, it's a 99 now. All right. I'm just gonna
Psych.
start over. What is up? It's Lit Book Reviews here for yet another one. As always, I am Abraham Lincoln. With me is my good friend Ulysses S. Grant, and we are happy to do another one with you guys. Today we are discussing the Fantasy Trilogy March Madness bracket, and we are just getting started. We are kicking off round one. So if you're looking at the screen right now, you can see the entirety of the bracket. We are in the first matchup, which is actually going to be seeds 4 and 5 down in the bottom left corner. So we've got the Way of Shadows going up against Promise of Blood here to kick off the fantasy bracket. How you feeling, man? How you feeling to finally get this thing going?
Feeling good. I honestly can't remember who I picked. Did we both pick Promise of Blood here as a prediction?
I think you actually might have went Way of Shadows just for
I think I might have. Yeah,
actually, no, I think this is the one we agreed on, Promise of Blood. We'll have to check ourselves. We'll do a full recap of the first round, and we'll check ourselves as far as our predictions. But yeah, so number 4 and number 5 seed, that's Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks up against Promise of Blood. So Andrew and I have just recently finished both of these books. If you haven't seen our reviews, they will have been out for a little while now, so you can go back and check out the reviews on both of these books. So what we are here to do today is decide which of these series is going to move on in the tournament. Which of these series we are going to be reading book 2 of for the second round of this tournament. So these are book 1. These are book 1s in both of these series. So just to give you a quick little idea of what we're dealing with, we've got Promise of Blood, number 1 in the Powder Mage series by Brian McClellan, 55,000 ratings with a 4.14 out of 5 stars. It is going up against The Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks. This is number 1 in the Night Angel trilogy with 166,000 ratings with a 4.14 out of 5. So a 0.01 difference in the Goodreads rating, but obviously a bit of a chasm as far as the numbers. Here we go. Should we say what we rated them? I mean, you can see what we rated them, so I guess we should say them. Way of Shadows, I gave it a 4. You called yours a 4.2. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We both gave Promise of Blood a 5. So full disclosure, that is where we're at. But we've got a certain set of criteria for what we're going to read the next book on. And that criteria might not match up just as easily as what we gave as far as our rating. So without further
Promise of
ado,
Blood's like not a full 5 for me either. I just didn't do one of those ratings for it. I rated them both 5 on Goodreads.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You did. And I gave Way of Shadows a 4 and Promise of Blood a 5. But again, I'm not at a point where I can just immediately say, what for sure is going to win this here. So let's get into it, man. Way of Shadows versus Promise of Blood. Thank you for being here. We're finally beginning our journey on this little bracket here, and we'll be doing it all March. So if you're watching this, this is just the first video of many as far as these matchups. So keep coming back for more. This is how we're going to do our criteria. So we're going to match up each book based upon 5 different categories, 5 different criteria. That's writing, characters, plot, world building, and excitement for the sequel, the second book in the trilogy. So we're going to rate each of these books on a point system of 1 to 5. We will allow decimals in there as well. And then what we are going to do is add up each of our ratings for each of these at the end and see which one comes out with more points. So there is a total of 50 points that can be grabbed by either of these books. Andrew and I have 25 points to give each. So let's see how it adds up, man. Let's just start right off the bat. Writing. Promise of Blood versus Way of Shadows. Where do you land? What are your scores?
For Promise of Blood, out of 5, I'd probably give it a solid 4.5.
Okay, 4.5. And keep up with your scores, if you will, so you can add up yours and I'll add up mine. So you're giving Promise of Blood a 4.5. That's very close to me. I'm actually just going to give it a 4.8 because, as I said in our review video, I did love the writing of this book. It's hard to say it's perfect, so I'll do 4.8 on the writing. I thought this was very, very well written. I actually specifically mentioned that I very much enjoyed the writing in this one from Brian McClellan. So yeah, it's a very high score of 4.8 for me. Way of Shadows, on the other hand, I hope this isn't too low, but I think I'm going to give Way of Shadows a 3.1 on writing. I was
I
uh
like
I
that.
was I was not super impressed with the writing. It's again a great book. I still very much enjoyed it, but there was a lot left wanting for me as far as the writing. What'd you give it?
Yeah, I almost want to give this like my heart says 2.7.
Wow, really? I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair. I don't
Well,
dislike
I
that.
mean, yeah, just if we're talking about the how clear do I know what's going on at certain points, like there's just very few moments in Promise of Blood, especially if I give Promise of Blood a 4.5, it's it's definitely at least a point and a half below. So I'm gonna stick with 2.7.
2.7. All right, that's fair enough. So I've got 4.8 against 3.1. What were yours again for writing?
Writing, I have Promise of Blood. I got 4.5, and then I got 2.7 for Way of Shadows. I'm also
Sick.
keeping tabs. So
All right, so that's an early lead for Promise of Blood. Let's get on to characters. So I'm going to start with Way of Shadows this time for characters on my scoring, and I'm going to give out a 4.6 here on characters.
wow.
I really enjoyed the characters, man. I don't know if I'm necessarily referring to the development specifically. We use that term character development all the time. As much as I'm just thinking of how much I enjoyed the diversity of characters and the different,
Yeah.
even the subplot characters, I just really liked them. There weren't any characters I can think of that I didn't enjoy when they were on the page. So it's going to be a high score for me, and I'm going to say I'm gonna not go too crazy. I'm going to say 4.5.
I like that. Oh, so you're going down to 4.5.
Yeah, instead of 4.7, I'm going to do 4.5. 4.7 feels a little bit too much.
Um, I like 4.5 as well
Nice.
because I agree. There's a lot of characters, but they all do feel original. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, 4.5 feels good to me. There's a lot of minor characters that I know you loved. But um, yeah, there's just a good supporting cast in that book.
I completely
So
agree.
I'm also gonna go 4.5.
Okay, cool. So characters on Promise of Blood. Then this one's going to be just a tiny bit lower. There's definitely less characters, but I still really, really enjoyed the characters in this book. I enjoyed the character development for each of them. Again, even some of the subplot characters. One in particular, which, by the way, we're not doing any spoilers in these videos, so we're not going to get into details. But um, I'm going to go just a slightly lower, just because the diversity and amount in Way of Shadows, I think for me, deserves a little bit higher. But I'm not going to go much lower. I'm going to go 4.1 on characters for Promise of Blood.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4. I'm
Okay.
gonna give it a straight up 4 because I agree. I like them. It doesn't feel like when we were reviewing it in our video, it felt like there was just not as many characters to review as we thought, which I know
Right.
is not true. It's just a different. The Way of Shadows it's part of it is because the writing style is so choppy. It allows like way
Right.
more to happen.
Right.
So, but anyway, they're both super fast paced.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. Okay. Cool. So on to plot then. Why don't you pick which one you want to do and start us off?
I'll start off with old POB, little
All
Promise
right.
of
Promise
Blood.
of Blood.
I'm going. I'm gonna give another solid just 4. Like again, like I think Promise of Blood is just one of the most solid books I've read in a while.
Yeah.
Um, there's nothing that's really weak about it. I can't say. I almost want to even 4 is good. I almost like want to like get wild and do like a 3.9, but
Mm,
because I think the plot's really good, I just don't know really anyway, that's just where I'm feeling as far as like what happens in the book. I know it's leading up to where maybe, you know, in the next book there's maybe some more huge twists, but I just
Right.
didn't feel like there was a lot. Like I'm factoring in twists
Sure.
into the plot category, by the way.
Sure.
So
Fair
it's
enough.
still solid, and there are some definite twists, but yeah,
Okay, cool. Fair enough for plot. I'm not going much higher than you, but I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna give it a 4.3 on plot. I
okay,
really enjoyed it. I do think there's a little bit to be wanted. Like you said, it's the first book. That's going to be a common theme in this first round with these matchups, but I still really, really enjoyed what we got. And 4.3 feels fair to me. I could see myself going a little bit higher just because I enjoyed this book so much, but there wasn't quite as much in comparison to its matchup. So I'll just slide right into my other score. So Way of Shadows plot, I'm actually going to put it at the same exact score of 4.3, which may seem silly to do. It kind of cancels this score out, if you will, to a degree for me. But the reason I do that is because the twists are better in Way of Shadows. The depth of the plot and the different things that are going on in the subplots is better in Way of Shadows. But and this kind of goes back to writing, so maybe this isn't a fair way to look at it, but the choppiness and sometimes the delivery of some of the things in the plot just bring it down a little bit to where it's pretty even with Promise of Blood for me. I don't know if that's fair, but I'm giving both of them a 4.3. What's yours for Way of Shadows?
I'm gonna give 4 point. I almost want to give after hearing you say that. I almost want to give Promise of Blood lower, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know, because I think Way of Shadows is better, and I almost want to.
We'll just make your Way of Shadows even higher then.
Yeah, dude. No, because then dude, that just feels blasphemous. In case we have like some other books that we end up rating on here that are
Sure,
like
fair.
four point
Okay.
five feels high. You know what I mean? Like I just like I'm that's almost pushing like to me like a an S like a great. I don't know. I guess it's
Yeah.
hard for me to like break up like just small facets of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is our
Um,
first time matching these up and scoring them, so it
yeah,
could grow over time, but I'm just kind
dude.
of
I'm gonna
going
go
with
back. I'm gonna say 3.9 on Promise of Blood,
okay.
and then on Way of Shadows, I'm gonna give a four. I'm gonna give a 4.4.
Okay, fair enough. Point
I
five
don't think I can
difference.
give 4.5 yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's a fair score to me. Okay, well, on to world building then. So this is a big one for me. I love the world building. It's almost always my favorite thing, the thing I'm most intrigued by. And I think I'm going to start with Promise of Blood.
Let's do it.
And I'm going to give the world building here, I think I'm going to go 3.6. I don't think the world building is crazy huge in this book. I like what I got, but there's not a ton of it. So it's hard, even though what you get is solid, it's
Are
hard
we
to give it a
factoring in
high
magic
score.
systems into this though?
Ooh, should we? Because that might change it a wee bit for me.
Yeah,
Should
I
I
definitely
include
think
it?
we should. I think we
Okay.
include plot and the twist. We probably should like I can put that in there somehow. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have magic systems, which I feel like is definitely so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so we
we'll
factor
bundle
that
that
in.
with Magic System. That's fair. So I said 3.5. That would bump me up to that bumped me up to a 3.9 probably. Um
I like that.
I'm still not going to go over 4 with it just because the magic systems are cool, but they're not the strong point of this one for me, not yet. I definitely think there's growth for more stuff in the future, but not quite there yet. What do you give Promise of Blood on world building?
Dude, honestly, I love the snorting of gunpowder. That to
Mm,
me, I know that's only one of the magic systems, and
mm-hmm,
then the knacked magic system too is really cool too. The other one that's like more overpowered, I was less interested in for some reason.
mm-hmm.
Um, but man, I didn't. The world building is nothing to write home about. Like if we were just doing world building, I'd probably give it a 3.5. But the magic system is, I thought, original and solid. So
Yeah,
it definitely kind of skews. I feel like I have to give it a 4, even though like I was planning on giving that like mid threes. But the magic system to me
yeah, that
is
changes
just
it.
very unique, and I liked it.
Yeah, that's completely
I'm gonna
fair.
go 4.
All right, slide right into Way of Shadows for me. Where are you putting Way of Shadows on world building?
Dude, I almost just don't even know. Like, I was honestly just gonna give both of these in the threes, and now with the whole magic system, it's just tough, dude.
This one's
I'm
tough.
probably
That's
gonna give
why I
like a
asked you to go first.
3. This feels disrespectful. It's just tough, man, because some of the best moments, like the highs of this book, are so good. But
I
then
agree.
just whenever
I
things
agree.
get choppy and confusing, it's tough not to think back on just some things that happened. And I'm like, dude, seriously.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to go like a 3, like 0.3, honestly.
That is fair, man. It definitely has to be under Promise of Blood, and I'm not going to go a full point, but I'm going to go almost a full point beneath, and I'm going to give it a 3.0.
I like that.
And I tell you, I could go lower, just because, again, the world building is very confusing, and when you throw in the magic system, man, there are some dots that have not been connected for me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go 3.0.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So it comes down to it, man. Excitement for the sequel. Now I don't know how close we are. I kind of have an idea of where my
I've
numbers are at, but it could very
got no
potentially
idea.
come down to excitement. Which one should we do first, man? Help me out here. Which one should we talk about first?
I say we just keep going. Promise of Blood here.
Okay, so Promise of Blood. I am very excited for this is for sure, and I hope this is the theme throughout this series that we're doing throughout this tournament. No matter what happens here, this is for sure a series I'm going to finish. I'm very much looking forward to
Yeah.
this. Um, and if I'm looking at the other four categories, the first one, writing, is one of the reasons I'm most excited. I enjoyed the writing of this book so much that I don't even have to fully consider the other things before I get very excited about reading more from Brian McClellan. Um, Based upon the ending, I am very excited to see what's going to happen next. So I'm going to go high here, man. I'm just going to let you know I'm about to go high, okay? And I'm going to give it the same score that I gave writing. I'm going to go
Wow.
I'm going to go one under what I gave writing, actually. 0.1 under. I'm going to say 4.7. I'm very excited for this
Okay.
sequel.
I
Where
like
are you
that.
at on Promise of Blood?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Really? Wow.
I'm so
Okay.
excited. I think where it's headed, I'm less excited for that arc. I
Okay.
think it was like a cool ending and I still want to, like you said, I still really do want to read this book. But my
Yeah.
favorite parts are like the beginning and middle, and then I still like the end. But
Mm,
um, especially when
fair
I'm
enough.
comparing it to the Way of Shadows, like the Way of Shadows is like a pure like upward rise for me. I mean,
Right.
again, there's errors with the writing, but if we're not looking at that, like Promise of Blood, like I mean, it never dips low to where I'm like, dude, I'm so uninterested. It's not like that at all. But um, to me, it didn't really leave me on the biggest of all like cliffhangers. I'm not like it didn't like I know there is a slight cliffhanger, but I mean,
No,
I
yeah, I
still
mean
want to
that's a
read the
fair
next book.
take.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, no.
I'm not trying to downplay. I do want to read the next book like really bad for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think that's fair. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, dude, I need to read the next chapter. Like, I need to read the first chapter just to at least have this little bit of closure.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I kind of wish he didn't have the epilogue. If he didn't have the
Mm.
epilogue, then
Mm.
this score would be definitely a little different.
Okay.
Um, so I got some slight, I don't want to say closure, but like I got some answers,
Okay.
in that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
do.
about.
Because
Um,
when I would, yeah, I agree.
so if that wasn't in there at all, it would probably like a 4. Like I'd want to know what happened. So
Sure.
anyway,
Yeah.
4 higher force. But anyway, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
4. What I say 4.
Yeah, you just gave it a 4.0. So, I mean, I think that's fair. And I would say to jump over to Way of Shadows, I feel kind of similar about this one. So, I'm going to give Way of Shadows, man, I hope, I feel like you and this is the one thing that I guess will have a little bit of a difference on, but I'm going to give Way of Shadows. I'm going to give Way of Shadows either a 3.9 or a 4.
Do what your heart tells you, man.
My heart tells me 3.9. I'm going to be honest.
Be
Um,
honest. Yep. Be honest to yourself. I like
I
it.
am. I'm being honest, and I do this. This is the same. Not quite as much, but I do want to finish this series, and I will. Again, no matter what happens here, I will.
Yeah.
I do want to finish it, but I felt similar to what you just said about Promise of Blood. I felt like I got a lot of closure, and literally, like to the word, I also feel that the very ending of the book, for a bit of
Yeah.
a different reason, but the very ending kind of made me feel, I don't need the
I
sequel
know exactly what you're talking about.
immediately.
Yeah.
I don't need it immediately, but I do want it. But it's just right under a 4 for me. So where are you at on Way of Shadows? Excitement
Way of
for the sequel.
Shadows. I'm at like a 4.3. 4 point. No, I'm gonna say 4.2.
Okay.
4.2.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's fair. So let's add our numbers up, see where we're at. So to reiterate,
We
we
may have to
are
pause
going
here for a
to.
second.
All right, here we are. We have calculated the numbers. We have met with the board. We have sent this in for review, and the scores are in, folks. They have been verified and re-verified. Santa has checked the list, and with 38 points is Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks. That was the added
Yep.
numbers between me and Andrew for Brent Weeks. That's 38 points for Way of Shadows. Promise of Blood, 42.2. Brian McClellan, the Powder Mage trilogy, is the first in the Fantasy Trilogy March Madness
The old
bracket
Trilly.
to move forward.
Trilly,
The old
Trilly.
Trilly tourney. Promise of Blood is the first one to move forward. So that means that Crimson Campaign is the first second book in a trilogy we know that is moving forward to round 2. So Powder
We
Mage,
probably should
our
put that
number 1.
as
How do
the
you feel,
kill
man? How
switch
do you
code.
feel? I think we
I
both
feel
said
good.
this
I
one would
mean,
win.
upon looking at it, it really almost came down to the writing. It looked like it was a 2-3 in the category. So, Promise of Blood won writing, and then it won. What is that? World building, and then it won most like the
Excitement.
readability of the next one, the excitement for the next one. Yeah. So,
Yep.
Way of Shadows won characters and plot, which I mean are two huge like aspects. I
Extremely
mean, it really
important.
though
Yeah.
the 5.8 total that it got, Way of Shadows in writing really just really hindered that, or else it would have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah, I think it shakes out right about how we felt about both books. We both enjoyed both of them very much. But yeah, I'm excited. We both called this one. There's just something about this, and I hope there's not any bias in that. I really don't think there is, because this was a struggle for both of us. I think, like, really narrowing down which one is actually deserving of winning. But I
yeah,
think we came out clean, man. Promise of Blood wins over Way of
I agree.
Shadows, and the Crimson Campaign will be up next. The Powder Mage trilogy will be facing off against either the Broken Earth trilogy or the Founders trilogy. And that is the next matchup you are going to see in this series. So we will be matching up the 5th season and Foundry side. Again, there's videos for reviews on all these books you see on the screen if you're watching this right now. So do go check those out. Let us know what you think about this matchup. If you've read both of these books, tell us if you agree with our scores. Tell us if you agree that this is the trilogy to move on. And Andrew, anything else you want to say about this first matchup?
No, I'm excited.
I'm looking
Excited for the
forward to
rest
it.
of this.
Well, just want to say thank you for checking us out. There are going to be many videos to see in this tournament we're doing in celebration of March Madness. Please do like, subscribe, leave a comment if you're listening on podcasts, rate and review. Check it out on the tube if you haven't before. And we'll see you in the next matchup of the Fantasy Trilogy March Madness tourney. See you next time.